everyone, I'm Kim Porter with Kim Porter TV, and I'm a business and personal development coach for women. And today I have in Elizabeth Henson. She's a photographer, a podcaster. She's huge on community. And one of the things that I've been following her forever, and I'm on her email list, and so I know that she's been up to a lot of really cool things, but she went to the Business by Design James Wedmore conference, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have her in. I know that she's really serious if she's gonna be doing something like this. So I wanted to have her in, kind of pick her brain a little bit. So thank you so much for being here. It's so important that we invest in our businesses. So what made you think that going to Business by Design, where did you get that?
Oh my gosh. So I have the coolest story behind Business by Design. If you guys don't follow James Wedmore or listen to his podcast, it's called the Mind Your Business Podcast. He's amazing.
He is amazing.
So my best friend Angie was in his BBD course. So it's a pretty big investment to buy his course. And everyone who's in the course gets this invitation to the live event. And she brought me as her plus one, which I did have to pay a little bit of money, you know, the travel and all the stuff to get out there. Yeah. But then while we were there, we both joined his next level group coaching program, which blows BBD out of the water.
Really? Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that was a thing.
So it's like an up level. And that's one of the coolest things that he teaches us is something called the extension model, which you have your free content, right? So your blog, your podcast, your YouTube channel, then you have your low paid thing, which is an online course or membership. And it basically goes up and up and up until you get to those one-to-one offers.
So it's a pyramid, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally. So I am somewhere in the middle of his pyramid.
But it's so great because I see you hustling. I see you doing, you're really putting in the work, and we have to invest. And I think it's such a big conversation that we have to have. We hire coaches, we learn stuff, we learn the formulas so that we can implement in our business and grow faster with less stress and less money on the table because we don't know what we're doing. So hire a coach if that's something that you if you're trying to build your business. So when I saw Elizabeth had gone there, I was like, oh, I have to have her on. That's so amazing. But I wanted to go back a little bit. How did you get started in your business as a photographer?
So I've always been a career hopper, and my mom is an artist. I know.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I love telling the story. I was a teenager, and she quit her job at Duke Hospital to be a full-time artist. And I just remember her looking at me and saying, you need to do what you love and find a way to make a living doing it instead of the reverse. Find your passion first and worry about the job and the career second. And that voice was always in the back of my head as I just tried different things. I was a graphic designer, and I was an art teacher, and I was a field hockey coach. And then after I got married, I got into photography, which was a passion of mine a long time before that.
Okay.
And followed in the footsteps of my mentor, Amanda Hedgepeth, and never really looked back. And now I'm in this space where photography is a stepping stone for me to become this entrepreneur that I've always wanted to be, and to help other women. And that's what I get to do artistically, but I'm so passionate about helping other women the way that my mom helped me.
I think that happens where you kind of, this quote that I heard, your craft is your catalyst. And I think that's so true. We, as a makeup artist, I love doing makeup, but I always knew that there was going to be a next level for me. And so you're in that next level. So you're doing coaching now, right? Is that something that you've been?
Yeah. So I started coaching and teaching other photographers really early in my business, probably too early, but there's really no such thing.
When you're a giver, you can't help but give.
Exactly.
And I'm if I learn it, then I need to teach it because I feel that's the way that we build community that way.
Exactly. And there's always going to be somebody that's a little bit newer than us that wants our help. And, because I was a coach in the athletic world before this, it just felt so natural to help and teach other people.
Yeah.
So I've been coaching and teaching women is almost as long as I've been actually doing the photography, but now I'm just leaning into helping a lot of creative women instead of just photographers, and kind of focusing on, like you said, of helping them build community around their brand.
Yeah, and doing it online. Because that's such a huge, when I started doing makeup, we didn't have, I'm sure there was internet, but we didn't have, to the level, we didn't have social media, we didn't have YouTube. And so now there's this whole world out there, and we don't have to just serve locally. Now we can just kind of serve everyone.
Yeah, and it's hard because I do have such a nice little tribe in Hampton Roads, and I'm really trying to break into a bigger audience and help more women And I feel like a needle in a haystack a lot of days,
Yeah.
but it's important. And, we have to put in that hard work. And when I have hard days, I think about the first year I picked up my camera and it wasn't easy.
No.
And transitioning into coaching can have its own struggles.
It's so true. It is so true. It's like starting all over again.
Yes.
You have to start all the fear and all the anxiety and the worry. And what I said, big fish in a little pond, and then you go to little fish in a big pond, and you're like, trying to find your footing. That is the truth. No matter where you start, it's going to be hard. And then when you start at something else, it's going to be hard again.
Yeah. And that's why, like you said, when you were talking about investing, I have no shame in telling people the first 2 years of my business, I spent $30,000 easily.
Wow.
Easily. Yeah. Of course, some of that's equipment and all of that stuff, but I just wanted to get from point A to B as fast as possible. And people think that waiting to pull the trigger is better, but I had a full-time job, so I had the safety net. All my business money went right back into my business.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the sooner you kind of make those big, scary investments, you're investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about handing somebody money. You're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And that was a huge difference that I saw when I went from coaching people for free versus having people pay me.
Yeah.
It's they're playing a different game.
They're serious.
Yes, they're serious.
They come to play. And
Yes.
when you kind of wait and you're like, I see some girls are like, I don't want to invest in a website right now. I'm not ready to invest. And then you kind of can talk yourself out of it almost. You can start to get that negative feeling of maybe it's taking too long, maybe it's not working. But if you invest, I was the same way when I started makeup. I hired a coach and I invested in my kit, and it's a big investment when you don't feel ready for it, but you hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And you're serious, and
Yeah.
people take you serious. So
Yeah.
invest in yourself and your business.
And if you surround yourself with people like that, it's just going to propel your results. And, even the day I got my business license, I'm like, this is so much more than a piece of paper. This is me taking myself seriously.
Yeah, and investing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. So let's talk about community. So you're big on community, and that's what your coaching is, how to build that. So can you give us some ideas of what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so it's all about loving on other people, and everybody wants to feel seen and feel heard, right? And we have to actually treat our business, when we're talking about it, when we're talking to other people, like they're the most selfish people on the planet. This is not about us. And the sooner that we can realize that our business has zero to do with us and everything to do with the people that we're serving, and if they feel like they're in a space or a container where they feel seen and they feel heard, they will always gravitate back. So what I help coach women on is how to lay that foundation, how to make people feel seen and heard around their business, and how to spend their time wisely online versus what I call being
scrolling. Scrolling.
Yeah, but actually loving on the people that will notice them. I see so many people that just get lost, what I call stargazing, and they're spending all their time on the bigwig Jenna Kutcher's comments, and I'm like, that's great.
When there's 28,000 comments.
Right.
And they're not going to see you.
Exactly. They're positioning themselves to be a needle
that.
in a haystack versus when I hang out with my peers, that has the ability to change someone's day. If I tell someone oh my God, I love this, you're doing great, and they only have 8 comments, I'm a big fish in a little pond, and they're going to notice me. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. And it's true. You have to be social on social media.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep, you have to invest in the people that are commenting and that are taking time. Now, some of them, you get the ones that are just the bots, I guess, and you're like, oh, stop wasting my time. But then the ones that really do stop and comment, we have to give back to that and keep feeding that. That's great. So what are you working on right now? Because I know you got something going on.
Yeah, so I'm calling it a bridge, because that's what James is working with us on. A bridge. I have one bridge.
I love
So
this.
it's the Shine the Light Society. So this is my virtual membership, which basically came about because I have my local Hampton Roads membership, and people started contacting me from Florida or Texas saying I want this, but I'm not there. So I really listened to them, and I created an online space that helps them build community around their brand, but it also puts them in a community of women that are waiting to share the same core values that I'm teaching and support them right away. And that's what makes it different than just a normal community or a Facebook group, is they're all trained, right? They're all trained by me to do these things.
Investing in each other and in the community.
Yes, exactly. To be a big fish instead of being a small fish.
And I liked what you said, and it's so true, and I say this all the time. Listen to what your people are saying. Listen
Yes.
to what your audience is asking you for. Just because you want to start a business as a wellness coach or a confidence coach, if that's not what people are asking you for, then that's not what you should be doing, because it's not about us. It's about what our audience and community are really looking for.
Yes, and that means that it's not what they're seeing you as the expert on. So one of the best things I ever did is I was trying to figure out how can I like niche down my coaching, is I asked my audience on Instagram, I said, what is Elizabeth the expert at? Like fill in the blank. Liz is the expert at.
Help me!
Yes, and I was so pleased to see that everyone said something to do with community or networking or serving or caring.
It becomes like a buzzword, right? You're
Yeah.
just like, oh, ding, 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 like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, and then
great.
like if they see me as the expert on that, then that's what I'm qualified to teach.
I love that. And you really went to your audience and asked them, like, what do you see me doing that is so great that I can help you with? And so that's brilliant. That's great. And I mean, it's basically just going grassroots. Like,
Yeah.
tell me what I should be teaching you. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, we put a lot of fear in asking people sometimes, and one of the hardest questions that I've had to ask throughout the launch of this program is like, why aren't you joining? But I have to ask these hard questions so that I can learn to face their objections. You know, so if their objection is time or their objection is money, I need to be able to speak to my program in a way that will help them overcome some of those objections.
And when you're talking about ideal client, that's what you're trying to do, is get inside of her head. And the
Yes.
only way you can really do that is to ask questions and to listen, so that you know her fears, doubt, and worry, and you can kind of get in there and use those keywords. That's
Totally.
great. That's
Yes.
awesome. So you've got that going on. So how can people find you?
I'm at elizabethhensonphotos.com. That's my website. I will be pursuing a second website very soon.
Are you now?
Yeah, because I feel like when I'm trying to like promote things, it's still kind of like
You're separating it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
let's talk about that in a minute, because you've got some time. So when I had to separate mine, I like things very like
clean
clean
Yes.
and organized. So I remember you saying, like, I'm just gonna keep it all on one Instagram. I'm just gonna like do the coaching and do the photography and do everything on one. Where for me, like, I have 4 Instagrams, which everyone's like, what? And I'm like, I know, I don't know why, but I have
That
to keep
gives me
things
hives.
separate. I know, exactly. I don't do very well on some of them. And so I wanted to separate. I knew I needed to keep it separate just for my mental. But I think that's important, that if you are jumping from one business or you're moving to one other business, you might want to separate them, because it does get a little.
It's different for everyone, and my Instagram's gonna stay all the same. Like that's just
You're still gonna keep it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's more that I'm pivoting into that all Elizabeth Henson versus kind of having that photographer label. And that's a struggle, because I know the photography gives me credibility as a business owner.
Yes.
But when I'm trying to reach people that have never heard of me, and I'm trying to teach them about building community, but they're seeing an ad that's based off of photography, that's where I think it can be confusing. So really the only thing that will be changing is like my website.
Okay.
And photography is still going to exist, and it'll be just photography.
So you'll have like a link tree drop down or something, and send them to where they want to go.
Yeah.
I think that is so true, what you said about the label too, about, as a makeup artist, people know me. I mean, I'm on my 18th year as a makeup artist. And so when I was ready to pivot, which I love that, it's like you're pivoting, you're literally moving from one thing to the next. You almost have to train people to see you in a different light, because they've only seen you in one way. And I'm like thinking like, no, I'm more than this. Like I love makeup, and I love the things that it has given me, the opportunities that it's given me. But, sometimes you're ready for the next level, and you have to kind of like let people see like there is another level.
Yeah, absolutely. And letting them know what you do. I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
simple things that I teach too, is like people can't find you if they don't know what you do.
Truth.
And they need to know how you stand out. And another building community tip, one of my favorite things to do is to go into like large Facebook groups like the Rising Tide, and I just scan for opportunities to tag people. But if you're not taggable, meaning it's not clear what you're the expert on, then it's going to be harder for people to do those kind of things for you. But if it's like, oh, I need an expert who is a business coach, but also used to be a makeup artist, I'm like, okay, Kim Porter.
You're tagging people
Yes.
in the group to let other people know
When they're
who
searching.
looking
So like,
for.
oh, I need a web designer. Got one for you. Oh, I need I want to be a guest on a podcast. Who needs one? Got one for you.
This is in a Facebook group, right?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
or wherever really. But one of the ways to build communities is to be what I call a dot connector. And if you can connect 2 people, they'll always remember you, right? Because they'll be like, oh my God, Elizabeth Henson brought me this dreamy client,
I love
or whatever.
that.
Yeah.
So smart. And so another thing, like I always catch, like you need to make sure on your Facebook that your personal page has your business on there. Have you know how many people like don't have that
Oh my God,
on
it's
there?
like such a pet peeve of mine because
It's
I'll stalk
so
people on
cute.
Facebook and I'm like, okay, I know you have a business because you're in this community
but
with
where
me.
is it? It's not on here. I can't find it. I need a
Yes.
link to be able to go to
Or
it.
the website, like not being able to get to the website. Like I
Yeah.
need to get to your Facebook business page. I need to be able to get to your website.
All from your
Yes.
personal page.
Otherwise, I can't refer you because I don't have anywhere to send people.
No, I know. Yeah. Listen, this is the key. Like it's little things that sometimes people don't think about, but these are the most important things. If people can't find you, they don't know where to go, they're not going to search for it. They're
Right.
not going to, they're not going to take the time. So make sure that you're doing that. So that's great. So they can find you at elizabethhenson.com.
ElizabethHensonPhotos.com.
Photos,
Yes.
okay.
My new one will be ElizabethHenson.co, but
Okay.
we don't have to worry about that just yet. Instagram is
gonna say.
Elizabeth.Henson.
Okay.
And that's probably where I'm like the most active and like keeping people updated on what I do. So Elizabeth.Henson on Instagram.
That's great. Well, good luck on everything
Oh my
moving
gosh.
forward. That's really exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. You can find more videos on my Facebook page, Kim Porter TV, and at the website, www.kimportertv.com. All right, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.